It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudist, and Naturist.
Welcome to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the Naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, greetings and welcome into Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, episode 132 today. Really glad that you're with us. We've missed you since this last Saturday. Glad that you've come back to enjoy clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. And as we used to say a lot, we haven't said it for a long time, but if you can enjoy this show today while clothes-free, so much the better. We invite you to join us. But if you're in the grocery store, the post office, or at work, walking down Main Street, and you just have to keep your clothes on, that's okay too. The important point is that we are together to learn and to explore more about the joys of naturism, or as we like to call it, clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. So we're glad you're here. Well, come on in. The pool looks like $1,000,000. The hot tub is raring to go. The grill is going full bore. Fruits and vegetables off to the right. Cold drinks off to the left. Hot drinks inside. You need a quick nap a little bit later on. You head out the left door. There's a hammock strung between two trees in the shade there. Just help yourself. Great place to rest and recuperate from vigorous swimming. And in the very back of the pool area, beyond the screen, we have 3 putting greens for you. You can practice your putting there. In the inside left back corner of the pool, we have our cigar area, cigar bar. Help yourself there as well. And guess what? Just for you, we've provided extra chairs, extra lotion, extra towels, all for your use. So see, we take good care of you. So if you brought nothing at all, you're just driving by, I like to go to Frank's place and hang out clothes-free all day today, but I'm not going to be able to. I have this, that, and the other thing. And you leave your house with nothing prepared to show up, and then during the day, you suddenly become free. A meeting was canceled, an appointment fell through. You know what? I have a chance to go to Frank's now and see Frank and Lisa and Jennifer, and I'll live clothes-free and enjoy the amenities there. Oh, but shoot, I don't have anything. Well, you've come to the right place because we're providing everything. Just come on in. Clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. Well, on today's show, we are going to explore a blog post by JELAINE Lombardi. She wrote a book called Running Around Naked. It came out just a few years ago. When she was 7 years old, her parents bought a nudist resort. And that became home for JELAINE from age 7 until age 18 when she got out of high school. And then she left the state to go to college elsewhere and never really returned to the naturist life. So since she left at age 18, she's been what she classifies herself as an outsider. She's an outsider to naturism. She still visited the resort for obvious reasons. That's where her family was, because they continued to own the resort long after she left. But she would keep her clothes on, which is totally fine. Nobody is forced to remove their clothes. It's an option. And she does live nude from time to time within the home, and with her husband, they do things together. They take a boat out and get nude on the boat. So it's not as though she's opposed to nudism, naturism. She just doesn't hang out that way 25/8 anymore as she did at one time. But she wrote a book about all of those experiences. I had a chance to read the book, and I even listened to the audio version. Sometimes you pick up nuances in one place or the other that are not in the other place. And an amazing story about how she came to life and came to know the world of naturism after having not experienced before. But that was home. You imagine that. You go to school, you come home, your home is a nudist resort. You go to church, you come home, your home is a nudist resort. Not a bad way to go at all. So we'll explore that today with Lisa Monroe when she comes in just a moment. In fact, here she comes through the door now, so I guess we'd better get going. But we're really glad that you're with us today, episode 132, every Saturday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern Time, and most Wednesdays, although it's turned out to be every Wednesday, at 12 noon Eastern Time. We come to you every Saturday is a 1-hour show right on the nose. And then these Wednesday shows, we're supposed to be about 30 minutes. We haven't come close to 30 minutes. It's been 40, 50. Last week, an hour 7, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, was an hour 7. Last week, 58, 59 minutes. Well, today it's our goal to be done in about 40 minutes, no more than 45. It just gives you a little chance to explore naturism again every Wednesday without overdosing on it, I guess, for lack of a better term. So that's our goal today. We'll see if we meet it. And I don't know about you, as we're together for episode 132 of Naked Nudists and Naturists, but I think I hear some music. Do you hear any? Let's listen together for a moment. Oh, yes, I hear it. I'm sure you hear it too. That can only mean one thing. It's time for the great, the terrific, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. And here she is, the one-of-a-kind, the completely over-the-top, fully clothes-free and fully smiling, our naturism correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. And is this Wednesday again?
It is.
Oh, my.
Yeah. Every 7 days, one pops up on us. How about that?
It's kind of unusual, isn't it? You think they wouldn't keep coming so often, but they do.
Yeah, we recently got an email, which we might read on a future show. It won't be today. But he was very clear to point out Lisa Munn, M-O-N,
Yes.
and capital R-O-E. So
Yes,
it's still out there. We talked about that last time. It's still out there, isn't it?
At least they're having fun with it. I think that's great. So it gets attention for me. Yes, we must have that.
It's all about you. At least they haven't called you Marilyn yet. You know, Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, they have not done that yet. Thankfully, but, there's always a first time. No, anyway.
Or the way we look at it, they haven't referred to Marilyn as Lisa yet.
Well, no, but that should be coming. I mean, for heaven's sakes, people. Oh, please, I hope everyone knows I'm teasing here.
Yeah, of course. Of course. No problem with that at all.
Goodness.
Well, we got a few more emails this past week, so I guess we'll just put it out there yet again. Is Lisa really naked during the show? So I guess I'll just give a one-word answer. Yes.
Yes.
We wouldn't say it otherwise. And Lisa, you can confirm or deny.
I can confirm that I am naked. If for any chance I ever am not, because it is too cold in the studio, I will tell you. And that would be the only reason. And sometimes it is very cold in the studio.
Well, yeah, every once in a while. And I'll just leave that one alone. It's not because of me. I prefer it kind of like you do. I prefer it warmer. Somebody else sneaks in, turns it down before we know it. During the show, it gets, whoa, where did that come from? And then we're both freezing our tails off, but we make do. But yeah, clothes-free, two jaybirds sitting around discussing naturism seems natural to us, doesn't it?
It certainly is natural and normal and fun and freeing, and it makes us feel good and it makes us enjoy doing the show. So
yeah. Well, on today's show, we're going to discuss a blog post by an upcoming guest. One of our listeners actually recommended this guest. She had written a book recently, in the last few years or so, about naturism. Her parents actually bought a nudist resort when she was a kid, and that was her home. Every day you go to school, you come home to a nudist resort. And she lived there from about age 7 till about 18. Went away to another state for college and never really returned. And when she did, she always kept her clothes on. She was just kind of out of the naturism thing. But she wrote a memoir, Running Around Naked, which kind of sort of goes back to her times, that 11, 12 years or whatever, living at the nudist resort, and all of the fun, wild, frolicky things that happen, and all the, terrific things. Couple, not so good, but for the most part, really good, positive experiences. And her name is JELAINE Lombardi, and we'll have her on the show in a little bit. It'll be several weeks from now, probably in December, actually. But we reached out to her and said, here we are, and you were recommended by one of our listeners. Would you like to come on the show and discuss your book and naturism and all that good stuff? And what I didn't know at the time is that she had her own blog, kind of like Dustin Cox. She has a Substack, and she went on her Substack and wrote a post about being asked to come on the show. Now, that's the first time that's ever happened. People have written about their experience being on the show, but not the fact that they were asked to be on the show. I got quite a kick out of this because it came through. This is one of the, very genuine article people.
Mm-hmm.
She's not just out there hot dogging it around. She really means what she says. And that's what came through. We'd already asked her. And I believe when this post came out, she already said yes. We'd already booked her. But it's interesting. I don't really think of it this way, probably because I'm not on the other side of the microphone. But, you reach out to somebody, hey, would you like to come on the show? And they might be going through all kinds of turmoil. Oh, boy, I don't know. And then they ask, 10 friends. They ask 10 more. And eventually they'll say yes or no, depending on their situation. Before we get into her post, though, I was thinking back to many years ago, as in double-digit years numbers ago, I think, or close to it, where I was hosting a radio show on terrestrial radio, and I had just come out with a book of my own, either that year or the year before, and we were interviewing authors on this show. Not only authors, but people who excelled in writing, the writing process, and maybe taught writing. And I found this group online. I won't give the name of it. You can if you want, but I won't. And there was a guy running the show and running the group. And there were, I think, at least 2 other people, and they were both women. And so I reached out to him. Hey, would you like to come on the show? It's on terrestrial radio in a major market. Did I mention we were number 1 in our time slot, or should I just leave that out because it'll sound like bragging?
Yeah, it's probably not relevant, but interesting, so that's okay.
I won't mention it at all.
Okay,
that
good.
we were number 1 in our time slot in a major market. I won't even mention it. So anyway, I reached out to him and said, would you like to come on the show? We have the show, and I told him the market, and I didn't tell him we were number 1, but we have a lot of listeners and they get a lot out of it. And he said, well, I'm not really the type to do that. He goes, but I have somebody, one of my helpers, or however he identified this person, as potentially she might want to come on, and the she was you. And that's actually how we first met. I don't know if you wrote to me or I reached out to you based on what he said, but you came on the show and then you became a regular. I forgot how often, but fairly often talk about the writing process, your books, the books of others. And so let me ask you before we get into this post. So you get this email or direct message or whatever it was from me saying, hey, my name is so-and-so. I have a show called this in a major market. Would you like to come on? What went through your mind?
Surprise, I guess, at the first, because the group hadn't been together all that long and relatively small. 3 people started it, and we definitely had an interest in growing the group, and this looked like a very good way for us to get the name out and get things going. And so, and having been on radio, I wasn't too, worried about doing an interview on live radio because I'd done live radio before. So for me, it wasn't such a thing, but I know that the gentleman you're talking about was panic stricken, thinking that he might have to do it. So he said, oh, thank goodness you're here. And I said, well, I'll do it. It's no problem. And, the rest is history. It was a huge thing for us. And we watched our numbers grow within the next probably 90 to 120 days, just astronomically after appearing. So it really did make a difference for us.
Yeah, I'm going by memory, which I shouldn't do, but it seemed like you had about 5,000 or 6,000 when we first did it, and then you jumped to about 30,000, just based on I'll call it the power of being on our show on terrestrial radio in a major market. In case I didn't mention that,
yeah.
And that is the power of radio, and that's why a lot of the people who come on this show, their numbers are good, their sales are good. They come on here, and it's like, whoa, where did that come from? Well, it's because you were on the show, and I think people have figured that out. So I was just wondering what you went through. So you had previous radio experience, so it wasn't something new. But for this lady, JELAINE Lombardi, it's like, what do I do now? Even though she had been on some other shows, but not too many. And I found that a lot in the writing community. I know you've found it even more. Well, obviously, writing is a solitary assignment. You don't
Mhm.
write while talking to 100 people or making dinner. You have to be alone, if not physically alone, certainly mentally alone in your own thoughts, right?
Very much so. But I also think that if you're writing, there's such a thing called marketing. And unfortunately, most people don't get good marketing contracts, even if publishers publish their books. They might get a little cursory, blurb or something, and that's it. So most people, unless they are already well known, don't get a lot of marketing. So these people need to know that this is how they get it done. They get on, television shows, they get on radio, they get in the paper, they do all sorts of things. And so, but so many of them going, oh my goodness, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do this. I don't know what to do. And it just drives me crazy. Get on and talk about your book. And most of them are not even prepared to talk about their book. You
Yeah.
ask them what your book about, and they stumble and go, "Oh, and then get for heaven's sakes, people, stop being idiots." And but so some of that annoys me a little bit because you got to do what you got to do, and you got to learn how to do it.
Yeah, but with writers, they're so locked into their own thoughts and, pen to paper or computer, whatever. They're not necessarily wired to be extroverts. Okay, I've written this. Now I'm going to go out on a 55 city tour and promote it. I have found anyway, most writers don't like to do that. In fact, Jelaine even told me she'd rather somebody else did all the marketing. I just want to sit in a room and write, have everybody else do all the other stuff, which I think is the personality trait of most creative people, whether they're artists or musicians. I just want to write my music. I want to play it, man, and then have
Mm-hmm.
somebody else go out and promote it, talk to the radio stations, talk to whatever. So that part I understand. So I guess it was a little tougher on her
Yeah.
because she's really locked into that mode of I just want to write. Leave me alone. Let me write and let somebody else promote it. But she also understands, no, I'm pretty much the one who has to do this, right?
Mm, very much so. And look, anyone who's creative, it's not going to want to stop being creative to go, send out press releases or try to contact people to interview them. That's not what anyone's about. If you're a musician, an artist, whatever, and writing's the same way. If I'm given the choice of writing a, press release or writing a story, I'm going to want to write the story because it's a whole lot more fun to be that creative. So, but it is not easy, and and everyone's different. I've known some tremendous extroverts in this business too, who and sometimes I'm not sure if they're not worse than the other side. So, it's just there's a happy medium somewhere for all of us, and but writing is solitary and marketing is not, and you just have to get through it.
Yeah, you just have to force your way through, which she has done.
Mm-hmm.
So she did agree to come on the show, and as I mentioned, we've already done the interview. We'll have it played. I don't have my notes in front of me. I think it's in December.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we go ahead and read her blog post? This came out at some point after we had asked her to be on the show. So she went to her readers and asked for opinions and advice, and they were very good about it. And obviously, she's very supported by her writing community. So it starts off with, I've been asked by the Naked, Nudist, and Naturist podcast, say that 3 times fast, she says, to do an interview about my memoir, Running Around Naked. Most authors would jump at this opportunity and feel thrilled to promote their book. Me, I go immediately into panic mode. It's not like I haven't done interviews before. It's not like I haven't stood in front of book clubs to explain my childhood. I've done this my entire life. And every person I've shared my story with has had the same reaction. They laugh, they blush, or they smile, and I feel the same embarrassment from my early years, remembering the teasing and questions from other kids who really didn't want answers. And let's take it from there.
As the interview request hung in the air, I hesitated. Did I want to put myself through this? I am a middle-aged woman who had a 32-year career as a NICU nurse.
Okay, she explained to me, by the way, that's neonatal intensive care unit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So basically dealing with babies who are in, high-risk situations. But take it from there.
I'm confident and capable and mostly excel at whatever I have taken on. Equitation, dressage, becoming a first mate to my yacht captain husband, portrait painting, pretty good at pickleball. That's a skill. And finally, my true love, writing. So what is this fear I have about public speaking? Just the thought of it set my heart thumping and my chest tightening. A podcast is not even truly public speaking. It will just be the two of us. They will let it out the ahs and the ums, and they will erase the dead space. They
Mhm.
might even help me sound good. And more importantly, my memoir will be promoted.
That's the big line. My memoir will be promoted. That's why writers get out there and promote, even if I just want to sit and write or do anything except go out. And so, moving on, I have faced this fear before. I've actually done well with Q&A sessions and newspaper interviews. I should be seeking more opportunities to promote myself, which of course equals book sales. Well, there you go. So she
Mm-hmm.
fully gets it, fully embraces it. Just, I wish somebody else could do this for me. But there's two things that bring me intense anxiety and date back to my childhood: palmetto bugs and public speaking.
Oh, the nights of lying awake listening for scratchy feet on paneled walls. Or worse, the swish of winged flight above my covered head. Not the boogeyman hiding under my bed. I knew that wasn't real. It was the cockroaches that were my nightly terror.
No, no, okay. Before you go on, just that paragraph alone, I could actually feel what she was conveying there. I could picture myself lying in bed trying to go to sleep. The air, the sound is dead because it's the middle of the night, and you hear little tiny feet on the walls, scratching the wall, scratching their feet, whatever palmetto bugs do,
Mm-hmm.
and the whoosh of winged flight above my covered head. See, she even covered her head up, like, oh, please don't come on my head.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew it wasn't the boogeyman because that wasn't real, but it was cockroaches that were her nightly terror. Could you feel that as well?
Yes, that was a beautiful conveyance of fear. And yes, I could feel that very, very much. And very nicely written piece.
Yeah.
And she explained that panic that we all feel when we feel bugs like that. So everybody can identify with that as well.
Mm-hmm. So she had dates back to her childhood: palmetto bugs and public speaking. We just talked about the palmetto bugs. Take the next paragraph. It talks more about public speaking.
Then there's stage fright. My youthful desire for attention put me in the spotlight, a place I would learn to dread. I had memorized my presentation for our camp play barely proper. I slipped on a dress, since the audience was made up of outsiders, plus it created greater shock when the first nude actor appeared. Then I stood in the dark on the east side of the stage waiting to be introduced. Fear gripped me. I wanted to bolt. It was all I could do to hold my 10-year-old self in place, heart racing like Secretariat going for the Triple Crown.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can probably picture that as well. I certainly can. You're
Mm-hmm.
10 years old. You're in front of a crowd. You don't know anybody in the crowd because they're all outsiders that visiting the club just to see this play. You are dressed, which was unusual, and they only had her in clothes because they wanted the shock value, for lack of a better term, to be the first actual naked actor who came on stage. So fear gripped me. I wanted to bolt, and I had a chance to read her book, and she basically said she memorized the whole thing, and I think words to the effect of doesn't remember delivering the whole thing, but she did, and she was just so scared out of her wits. It was like, okay, blah 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 blah. Okay, I'm done, I think, and she was done. You know, everybody
Yeah.
clapped, and actually she did very well, but she had that panic that I guess most people get. I forgot the percentage, but isn't that one of the greatest fears in life, of public speaking?
Oh, absolutely. It seems if you ask people what their greatest fear is, a lot of percentage of them will say public speaking. And I think, I remember being, in grade school and doing plays, and, that was a regular elementary school with those naked things going on. But, there is something about standing in front of those people and trying to say lines and get things done. So it is fearful, I think, for a lot of us. And, you have to learn to develop that confidence.
Yeah, yeah, and it's not easy.
No,
And
not
you
at
might
all.
do it for 25 years and it's still not easy. I know people in that situation too. Like, I've been doing this forever. I still get anxiety before I go, but here I go. You know, if I pass out, please drag me off the stage comfortably and give me some water and a cool compress, but here I go.
And I think it's Barbara Streisand who is absolutely paralyzed with stage fright when she does anything. Yet, you know what? She's a professional. She's a performer. She walks out, she does it, she sings beautifully, and that's it. But internally, she is absolutely panic stricken. So, we can overcome these things, even if we still feel them, but we can still go do what we need to do.
Yeah. Well, some people
That's not
can't.
easy.
Some people
No,
cannot overcome
no,
it. It's tough, and
no.
we
I
respect that.
agree. Absolutely, because we've all had that fear. Even if we're comfortable doing it now, we all had that fear at some point.
And I went through that, believe it or not. When
You?
people, yeah, I know, when people hear me on the radio, they hear me speak live, they'll think, well, that guy is a naturally born public speaker. Of course, it's easy for him. Oh, no. When I was a kid, even though I was out there playing music and playing baseball and basketball, that's not exactly shy and hiding in the background.
Mm.
I was still kind of a shy kid. And I didn't say much to anybody to the point my dad said, you need to get out there and start talking to the other guys on your team. And he was the manager. And I said, oh, okay, but I don't know what to say. I mean, those guys are, cool. And he said, and you're not? And I said, well, no, I don't think so. He goes, you're as good as they are. Get out, just talk to them. And so I'd wander over, hey, how you doing, man? Yeah, we're fine. And that would be the entire conversation because I had nothing else to give. I was like, I'm shy. I don't want to do this. I can't do it. But I also realized at a very young age, single digits, I need to find a way to overcome this because I can't go through my whole life. Now, you see people, adults in the community, you see your parents, other relatives, people on TV. How they get along in the world is by communicating. You can't just, hi, how are you? And I'm done. That's all I have. Bye. You just can't do that. So it took me a long time to overcome that. But again, when people see me now or hear me now, it's like, oh, that guy's been speaking since he was born. It's pretty obvious. Oh, no, not at all. So we do understand when people go through that.
You sure do.
And there was an introduction to the play. Before we begin, I'd like to introduce my young friend who will tell you all about the show you are about to see. Come on up, JELAINE.
I stepped up onto the podium, into the blinding footlights, all lights on me. I held the microphone with a deft grip. Thankfully, my mouth began to move, spilling out the memorized monologue. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Seminole Health Club. I recited the presentation of characters and plot lines, which was basically an out-of-body experience. I spoke the words, but I was somewhere else, far, far away.
Yeah, I remember her saying that. I forgot it was in the blog post as well. That's basically what I was saying. Finally, I reached the ending by her saying, the play starts with Derek arriving at Frida's home. I hope you enjoy it. The sound of applause brought me back to my body, and I stepped shakily down from the podium. I did it. I'm free.
Yes.
Can you imagine going through that as a 10-year-old? Well, we did. I mean, we did it when we were young. Get up there and, say something. It's like, but you do, and you move on, and she survived it. How about that?
Exactly. I mean, I remember many recitals and, many plays, school plays and stuff. So yes, it's a common thing, and that I did it. I'm free is a common response too. You're like, oh, thank goodness that's gone.
Yeah.
It's over. I didn't embarrass myself. I didn't embarrass anybody else. So good deal.
Yeah. I mean, on the surface, you would think writing a book would be really hard, and talking about the book would be easy. But for a lot of writers, and I'm guessing for JELAINE, it's the reverse. Writing is easy. I love to do it. I'll sit down, I'll write all day and half the night.
Right.
Talking about it, oh boy. I go back to youth when I was, petrified to be on stage is kind of what's going through our head. Before we go on, we want to remind everybody we are the official podcast for the American Association for Nude Recreation. Are you a member? If so, great. But if not, you can become one right now. Just go to aanr.com. Follow the navigation to membership, and within moments, just like Lisa Monroe is, or should I say Lisa Monroe is, and I am, you'll become a fully fledged member of the American Association for Nude Recreation. How about that, Lisa?
Sounds good to me. It's a great organization, and come in and join us.
Absolutely. Well, you're listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 132 today. We're talking about the blog post by JELAINE Lombardi, who will be a guest on our show. Again, I believe in December is when we're going to air her interview. We've already conducted the interview. And she put this post out there. Okay, I've been asked to be on this show. I don't know. I love to write, but speaking about myself, I don't know. But she came on, did a great job, by the way, which you'll hear when we play the entire interview. Now, before we go on, if you go back a few lines, her intro to the crowd. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Seminole Health Club. If people go to look up the Seminole Health Club in Florida, they'll find that it's closed, permanently closed, out of business, adios, sayonara, etc. That's because they sold it, believe it or not, to a KOA campground. And so
Ooh.
where you used to run around naked as jaybirds, now it's KOA with, lots of rules in place and you better keep your pants on or you're big trouble. But she's thought about going back there, with a camera and just walking the same roads, walking amongst the same trees where she used to be naked and just filming the whole thing and kind of reminiscing, like, I used to do this here, I used to do that there. And I was telling her, I said, can you imagine all the emotions that will come flooding back? And she said, yeah, that's kind of why I want to do it. And I got the impression that's kind of why she doesn't want to do it, but I think she's going to do it. And I can't wait to see that. That would be wild, wouldn't it? Go back to your childhood roots, which were all naked, and now you're always clothed, and you're going back to your naked home, which has everybody in clothes. That's got to be at least strange, minimally, right?
Very much so. And I remember as an adult, the first time I returned back to my hometown, and even then, and it wasn't a naked experience, even then, it is a kind of surreal experience because things have changed, they've been the same. So for someone to go back into an environment like that, which was very different from a lot of other people's experiences, has to be a very emotional and very strange feeling.
Yeah, very much so. All right, so after she got off stage, I did it. I'm free. Why don't you take over from there?
I returned to the same moment of fear and freedom every Saturday night for the next few years, never quite getting used to the crowd staring up at me. In my teenage years, there were other new plays that I performed in, even the movie production of Fairly Proper, but the anxiety never left me. Now here I am, middle-aged and reduced to that 10-year-old girl waiting in the dark.
So our invitation for Jelaine to be on the show is, okay, here I am. I'm 10 years old again. I'm in front of the crowd. I'm scared to death. What should I do? I would much prefer someone else do the promotion for me. Perhaps a body double. Yes, that's it. I would love to attend my own interview. I would even raise my hand and ask myself the question, why did you feel so insecure when nudism has such a body acceptance philosophy? But it would be more fun to ask the ridiculous questions I've heard all my life. Did you wear clothes to school? What'd you do when it was cold out? Jeez, what the heck is wrong with people?
I don't know.
But, here she is living in a nudist resort, goes to a public school, shows up naked. You got to be kidding. I mean, come on.
No, she did not. So,
Yeah. And why don't you take it from there?
I will listen and smile as my body double states the obvious.
Yeah.
Being a child nudist didn't mean I was mandated to always stay nude. If it was cold, I put on clothes, maybe even our camp sweatshirt. If it was rainy, I wore a rain jacket.
Now, if that happened today, she would put on a naked nudist and naturist sweatshirt.
Yes, she would. And, we even have new hoodies and everything to help with that cold weather. So, in a knit cap. So, wearing a knit cap while naked will keep you warmer. So,
That's right.
go for it.
How's that for sticking a commercial in the middle?
Oh my gosh, you gave me such a beautiful opening. Thank you so much. Such a good straight man. Well, what can I say?
That's right. All right, finishing up. I will sit back, relax, grab a mouthful of popcorn, and watch the show. Yes, this is much better. I'm actually enjoying this. The part of a body double doing the business while she just sits and kind of listens and takes it all in. And then once you go ahead and finish up the last paragraph.
But I know I have to face my fear, no matter how difficult it is. I am proud of my book. I accomplished what I set out to accomplish. I published an honest account of my crazy coming-of-age story. I did it with the approval of my family, even the uncomfortable parts. And I want to share this most unusual story with you, my reader. So stay tuned, and I'll let you know when the show will air. You can let me know how I did. Be kind.
Okay. And that's the blog post from JELAINE Lombardi. Wrote the book Running Around Naked. Her parents owned the Seminole Health Club, a nudist resort in Florida. Moved there when she was 7. She left when she was 18 to go to college in another state and never really came back to the world of nudism, naturism, clothes-free living. But, that's her choice, and there's nothing good or bad about it. It's your choice. You do what you want to do. But she did write the book, and we have her coming up on the show. And I thought it'd be good to share her blog post with readers just to let them know not everybody comes dancing on here. Hey, they want me on the show. Here I go. La-di-da. I'll bet more people than we know, guess, have said, oh, boy, here I go. It's he's interviewing me at 7 o'clock. It's 6:58. Oh, shoot. Can I get out of this? No, I guess I can't. Probably a lot of that going on more than we know, right?
I think so. And it's just kind of human nature to, have that moment of fear, especially with something no one has done. I mean, you interviewed a lot of people here that have never done an interview before. So,
Right.
it's kind of, someone who's just suddenly found naturism, and the next thing you know, they're on this show talking about it. So it's, quite an experience for a lot of people. And it's great for everyone else to see that, you can gain that confidence by becoming a naturist and talking about it. So it's a real good thing.
Yeah.
But it's scary.
Yeah.
Even I'm scared every now and then coming on the show. Oh my goodness, no.
Oh, I doubt that. Unless you've done something bad, then you're afraid to come in and face the music. But we'll let that go for now.
Yeah, okay, might be wise.
Absolutely. And we in the show notes, you'll find the link to JELAINE Lombardi's website as well as her Substack, and you can get the book if you want to. The link is there as well for that. And she's written other books, by the way. She's written a book on horses. She's written a children's book, and she's had other books coming out. So she's not strictly a naturism author. She's done a lot of areas, although I think she did say she's going to have a part 2 to the naturism thing and her experiences. It's a memoir. It's not fiction or anything. It's actually what she lived through. So it's great to have her on the show and great to hear the background of what she goes through or what she went through while deciding should I accept or not. And she was probably on pins and needles the night before. And maybe someday we should explain what you and I go through the night, not only the night before an interview, but the weeks before an interview, because we do a lot of preparation around here.
Yes, we do.
We want to make sure we get everything just kind of fitted in there nicely so it's easy for the listeners to listen to, but also makes the guest comfortable. But I don't end up on pins and needles, because we've been doing this 150 years at least, even though we're only 27. Keep going with that
I know.
That's
And
right.
we both are writers, so we're used to doing research for the writing as well. So you learn how to balance all of that and deal with it, and that's one of the reasons we like to do that and hone it down to make certain that what we talk about is factual and and important. So
Yeah, that's how it all shakes down.
it is.
Well, we've done it, Lisa Monroe. 2 weeks ago, our Wednesday show went 1 hour and 7 minutes. Last week went just under an hour. We're supposed to do most Wednesdays a half hour. The last 2 Wednesdays, well, we've done every Wednesday since we started. We haven't missed one. And then 1 hour and 7 minutes, and then 58, 59 minutes. Well, today we are far under an hour. How about that? Hats off to us.
Wow, that's going to be amazing. And I'm sure everyone else is going,
Well, I think people are saying, hey, what do you mean they're stopping? I'm not to my destination yet. I still have 50 more minutes. I want to hear them. But we're keeping it a little shorter today. Not a lot shorter, but a little bit shorter.
A little bit.
Just to give you a little change of pace. And on this Saturday show, which will be episode 133, part 2 with Andrea from the WOW Campaign 2025, Women in Nude Recreation with Andy Rogers. What a story. Lots of really bad stuff and got rid of the bad stuff, and now it's all good stuff. And she's enjoying the nudist life and part of being the campaign, the WOW Campaign 2025. And I know you'll be tuning in because you'll be here.
Yes, I will be here.
Right.
Absolutely. And the WOW campaign has been a really good thing, I think, it's given a lot of women the opportunity to tell their story. Not everyone has a horrible tragedy story to tell, but some have, good stories. But the fact is that they are all the experiences that we went through, and they're all important. And it's wonderful to see them open up and say, this is why I wanted to be a naturist and why being a naturist is good. So great program.
Yeah, very much so. All right, Lisa Monroe, with that, let's head for the hills. Promise to be clothes-free, nonstop 25/8, and I'll see you on this Saturday.
Absolutely. See you Saturday. I'll see everyone else Saturday as well. Bye.
Bye. The very terrific Lisa Monroe as she goes pirouetting out of the studio. Headed straight for the coffee pot, and I'll just bet she's headed for that plate of very delicious smelling freshly baked brownies that she brought in today, which is fine. As long as she leaves one for me, that's okay. I guess she's allowed to have at least one of her own creation today. But Lisa does a lot around here, as you know, does our website, does our merchandise, helps with the Patreon page, does those memes for social media on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, does these segments, puts up with me. And we thank Lisa Monroe very much. Well, we hope you enjoyed today's show as we explored the blog of JELAINE Lombardi. She'll be coming up on the show in December, I believe, and can't wait for you to hear that interview. Can you imagine growing up on a nudist resort? That's your home. That's not a place you visit or go to on the weekends. That is your home 7 days a week. And a lot of people do that now, but I mean as a kid, can you imagine that? What a great life that would be. Gets you set up for life. So we'll listen to that when it comes up in December. We appreciate you listening today to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 132. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, if you get a moment, you could even do it right now while you're listening. Go ahead and subscribe to the podcast platform of your choice. Subscribe to this show on the podcast platform of your choice. We'd appreciate that very much. Gives us more visibility, and when people type in the word naked in podcast land, this show is more likely to come up the more likes and subscribers that we have. And it gets the joy of naturism out there for even more people, so we appreciate that very much. Whether it's Spotify, Apple, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, Amazon /Audible, wherever you go for this podcast, we ask that you like and subscribe. And shoot, if you get a chance, give us a review. That helps as well. And we thank you very much for being with us today. Clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. Well, you've been listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 132 today. We give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time, and on most Wednesdays, 12 noon Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon /Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked Nudists and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked Nudists and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.